present with us now would ask herself.
Okay. Confirmation of a quorum. We have 32 people signed in at this point. If you haven't signed in, there's the sheet you can sign in on. But we're good to go. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. That was as printed in the annual report. Katie and supported by Nancy. Moved and supported to adopt the agenda as printed. All in favor? Opposed? And congregational meeting minutes from last year. Is there any additions or corrections to those?
Judy Battle should be added.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so the reports as printed, other than adding Judy Battle, the pastor's report. All in favor, or can I have a motion for that? Katie? Mark support, moved and supported to accept the reports as printed with the correction noted. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, then we're on to the proposed budget. Printed up again in the annual report. There's some things that we would like to add to the budget. We made a budget assuming that, or at least understanding what our expenses were and balancing that with the income side. We know under our current conditions, we cannot meet that income side, but we wanted to, I guess, present it in a form that's familiar to us. We will work on that month to month and keep reporting as we go on how we're doing against that budget. For our current position, just a couple of things I wanted to note. We went back to 2019, which was the first or the last year of being normal, I guess we could say, before the pandemic began the following March. So from 2019, we found that we had in giving units or envelope numbers, we had 111 at that time in 2019. Currently, we have 73, so we lost quite a few in that time period. The amount given in 2019 was $175,000. The amount given to date is $102,000. We're estimating that we'll be at about $120,000 at year end. Giving units that have either left, that we know have left, or are not giving, there's 38 units in total, 38 numbers, totaling $57,000, comparing 2019 to 2022. So we know that's where the problem is. It's income related. The good thing is many people are giving more than 2019. So we're thankful for that. We're also hosting meeting in a couple of weeks on November 19th. Synod leadership will be here, and we're hosting, and other area churches will also be here to discuss. We're not the only one in this situation. So we're going to discuss the situation with these other churches and find out what other churches are doing. So that's coming up on the 19th. To resolve our problem, I mean, giving is a problem. We have a general fund that we operate from. That general fund is what we're short of covering each month, each week, really. In order to cover that, to go forward, let me back up. That general fund will probably run out of money about early in January. So we can cover this year, and then we'll be behind at that point. And the monies for that will be gone. There are other funds. There's a designated fund that's based on either memorials or gifts from members, basically, that have been designated for a particular use. There's $85,000 in that fund. There's also the endowment fund, which you have the detail in your report. That is money that was, again, gifted to us or willed to us in some form. That money is what we invest, and we use the proceeds from the investment, and we do things with that money based on what's written into the Constitution for that fund. There are approximately a little over $350,000 in that fund. That fund is very detailed on what we can do with the money and how it's to be done. And then there's a small fund of Sunday school that's just operating for the Sunday school that you see printed out there. One of the things we're going to ask for is we're going to ask to accept the budget today and approve the council's plan. Our plan, in order to cover the shortfall, is to utilize the designated fund monies. They are designated, they are identified on what they should be going for, but there's cash in the bank, and many of them aren't going to come, or there is no need for them right now. So we're going to, because that money's in our account, in the bank, we will use that in order to cover the losses in the general fund. But we want to think of it as borrowing from that fund. We know we can return the monies to the designated fund at a later date by either getting money out of the endowment fund, or if we really had to, we could actually mortgage the building. We own the building and the property free and clear. There is no debt on that whatsoever. Just a side note on the building. When we built the building in 1985, and we took out a mortgage to cover our costs. I don't remember the length of that mortgage, but we repaid that in 10 years. It's completely repaid. So the people at that time were very generous in giving to the building. Just a side note that's we're doing as well today as we are because of what people have done in the past. So we'll keep track of that money. We'll know we won't have a particular fund that it comes out of. It'll come out of designated funds, and it'll have to go back into there to cover those funds at a later date. But you'll see it because we'll let the general fund run negative. And however far the general fund goes negative, up to $85,000 currently, will be what we're behind on the designated. And we're not hoping, we will pay it back at some point with other monies that we have. Okay, that's a lot. Any questions? Okay.
How long do you anticipate the fund lasting if it does not
We don't have anything right now that shows turning this around. You know, so we've been watching membership and income regularly. We were kind of through the summer, we got some extra money in, we had some kind of $10,000 months, which wasn't enough to cover, but it was a lot closer. The last 2 months have been at about $8,500. So for instance, in October, we lost about $3,300. So we know we have to make changes. We'll be working on what to do. We'll try to obviously change expenses where we can. There's not a lot of room to do that. So we'll be looking at our entire budget, deciding what we have to do. So council isn't planning on stopping that work. We will continue to work on that month to month and find a solution to this problem, but we don't have one right now. Hopefully we'll get some information from the Senate leadership that'll help us also. Anybody else? Yeah.
No, we lose 4,000 a month, just as an average. 21 months. Yeah.
Out of the designated,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have given me the current level.
Pardon me?
I have given you that current level.
That was based on the law.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anything else? Then I need I guess first order of business would be a motion to accept the budget as presented. Katie making the motion, we have support for that motion. Chris, the motion. Moved and supported to accept the budget as printed, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. And secondly is, I guess, council's making the recommendation of the plan we just discussed, or I discussed. So we'd like you to approve what the council's plan is at this point. I have a motion for that. Nancy Green and Dawn second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we have a couple of offices. First one we had was a member for the endowment fund committee. Ron Meiselbaugh has agreed that he would take that position, probably with some arm twisting by Julian, I would suppose. But so unless there is another nomination, I would say all in favor of approving Ron.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And the next item, we have Tim Evans, Chris Simone, Chris Ritter, and Coffey. They have agreed to go on for another 3-year term, so we sure appreciate that. So I guess let's start with them. All in favor of accepting those 4 to continue another term, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We also have one position on council that's held over from last year. No one volunteered for it. We just operated with 11 instead of the 12. Anybody would like to nominate or volunteer to take that position? Anybody weakening? Okay, we will continue with 11. Council can appoint that position as needed. So it wouldn't be like we have to go the whole year. it's really, at the size we are now, maybe 11 is one, but we'll leave that position open at this point. I believe. Closing prayer, Pastor.
Before we do close in prayer, just very briefly, as you all know and have heard the past 2 weeks, we are changing back, if you will, on our communion distribution to the way we did pre-pandemic. If anyone has any concerns, this was a little much for an announcement on Sunday morning. So if anyone has any concerns about that, we are looking at keeping a few of those pre-packaged elements convenient for those who maybe throughout the winter would prefer to keep doing it that way. If anyone has any concerns, please come to me and talk to me about those things and let me know if that is something also that you would need. Again, that was a little much for a Sunday morning announcement. And please stop by that clipboard and sign up to help with communion because it will take extra people to help. We do need more ushers. We only have 3 ushers regularly, so consider helping with communion in any way. That advertisement complete. I invite you to stand. We'll close our meeting together in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever.
Need a motion for adjournment. Katie and Karen. All in favor of adjourn? Opposed? Carried. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.